going to start out tonight. We've got Mr. Colin McKellar. He's our incident meteorologist. Sitting on that, yes. We have at our incident management team, we carry an incident meteorologist, which is basically our weatherman. He does a weather forecast just for the fire. It's highly accurate and pinpoint, just to what we're looking at. He's gonna have some good information for you. He's going to be followed by Mr. Eric Valdez. Mr. Valdez is a fire behavior analyst, so he's going to take the information that Colin provides on the weather and tell you how that relates to the fuels and burning that might occur based on those conditions. Then we've got our operations section chief, Mr. Dan Cather, who's going to talk to you about what has been done in regard to the suppression effort and what we're planning on doing in the near future. We're going to hear from agency administrator from the forest, and we'll wrap it up with our incident commander, Mr. Brett Waters. So we'll go ahead and kick it off with Colin McKellar, incident meteorologist. Now you can stand up.
Good evening, everyone. Incident meteorologist Colin McKellar. So, like he said, I come out to wildfires, and I'm embedded with the team, and I'm hyper-focused just on this wildfire and forecasting for this wildfire for firefighter safety and public safety. I also collaborate a lot with the local Boise office here in Boise, Idaho. So, just real quick, we went through a couple tough days of critical fire weather. We had really low RHs, down between that 9 and 15% range, high winds, which doesn't help too, and unstable conditions. And that's what we saw yesterday and the day before. And with that, Eric will talk more about the fire haver that resulted. But it was a tough couple days. I'd say coming on to a camp like that and weather like that is not fun, but with that, we had moderating temperatures today, finally. It smelled like rain this morning, not like smoke, which is great. And with that, we started off with some light rain this morning. I was kind of accurate on everything but the rain today. We'll not focus on that. But going forward, we still will see those showers overnight tonight and into tomorrow. The big thing about fire behavior, fire weather for us, we focus a lot on humidity and wind. Humidity today was much higher across the area. Instead of that 10 to 15% range, we were looking more about 40% to even 70% on the peaks. Much better. We were also looking at much lower temperatures today. It only got to 50 degrees on the ridges. A few days ago it was 95 at the base camp. So much cooler temperatures. That also helped. Next thing that also helped is much lighter winds. A few days ago, we had winds up to 35 miles per hour on the peaks and in the valleys, really helping push that fire along. Today, much lighter terrain-driven winds that you guys are probably all used to here in this part of the country. So with that, that was the moderating temperatures that we saw today in those weather conditions. We're going to see those conditions continue into Sunday as well. Still those chances of showers, slight chances through the day, into tomorrow evening, not looking at any thunderstorms as well. But with that, we could see light amounts. Nothing that's gonna be a wetting rain, but maybe up to 1/10 of an inch if we're lucky, and it's highly scattered, so not huge showers pushing through the area. Another good thing that we're doing tomorrow on Sunday is those daytime temperatures are gonna go up a little bit, but they're still going to remain in the low 70s to about upper 50s on the peaks, as those RH recoveries are also still pretty good for this area. Still pretty humid. But as we head into Monday, we're going to start to build in a ridge of high pressure. We're going to start to warm up, dry back out, and we notice that those daytime humidities are once again going to start to go down to that 20% range. And those AM recoveries are going to start to slightly go down as well. Now, as we head to Tuesday and to Wednesday, especially that Tuesday time frame, we're looking at a trough of low pressure dropping out of the Pacific Northwest, coming through our area. This is going to bring it an increase in winds. And with that, Tuesday night, we're seeing that frontal passage. We'll see those winds increase at about 25 gusts on the ridges out of the west-southwest with the passage of that front. And with that, it's a dry front. It's not a wet front. There's no rain with this. So it will dry out as we head into the rest of the week. And we'll cool off a bit on Wednesday after the passage of that trough. But again, as we head into the rest of the weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're going to build in another ridge of high pressure. It's going to warm back up again. We are going to get the lighter winds though with that ridge of high pressure. But it will get drier for the daytime and the nighttime, and those temperatures are going to go back up. That's the current weather outlook for the next week. Definitely not what we saw this last 2 days. That was kind of crazy fire weather for us, but after that, I'll be happy to take any questions after. Thanks.
Good afternoon, Eric Valdez, Fire Behavior Analyst. So I'm actually part of a group of folks that work with fire behavior prediction. We have other folks that are long-term analysts, and they look out several weeks, even months, and kind of start to predict when we're going to see some of these season-ending events. They'll utilize information that the folks like Colin provide. I focus mostly on what we're going to be seeing over the next few days and directly apply these weather parameters along with some of the fuels information, along with all the other things to kind of help our firefighters be safe while they're engaging in the day and then planning out for the next few days. So, as Colin mentioned, the last couple days were some of the busiest and biggest fire days that these two fires had seen, particularly up near Deadwood Reservoir along the 17 corridor, and then over on the north end of the Bulldog Fire. And then as this fire has tried to creep through and push a little bit, the Bulldog Fire has pushed a little bit further east. And as you see the map together, it really is starting to kind of close that gap. So what's driving that is a lot of dead and down fuels. If you actually were able to see some of the older fires that you guys have experienced up in this country, you'd see that these fire scars match those areas where you guys haven't experienced fire previously. It's really kind of found and worked its way through those areas where there's a lot of dead and down fuel, a lot of beetle kill, and timber that has just hasn't had those fires work themselves through over particularly the last 10 years. Over on the Bulldog Fire, it has pushed into a burn scar from about 2009, 2007. And that fuel is a little bit more susceptible. We have needed to hit some of these higher thresholds for it to burn in there. But like on a day like today, everything's really moderated, and we expect to see that continue. So really for the next couple days, including what we're going to see for the rest of today, is we have a lot of moderation in that fire behavior. Some smoldering, a little creeping. You'll see some smoke that pops up here and there, but for the most part, the fire behavior has really allowed our operational forces to kind of to get in there and do some good work today. That's going to continue for tomorrow. Fire behavior is going to stay fairly mellow. We might see some isolated group torching as it gets a little hotter and we start to see the relative humidities drop down. The winds are really going to be working through by the terrain in particular. So what that means is as the winds kind of develop in the bottom of the valleys and then work themselves up through the canyons and draws, that's what's going to kind of influence the direction of fire spread. And you'll see that as you look, if you have a chance to come up and look at these fire progressions, you'll see that on the various days where there wasn't really a lot of wind, like general winds or a frontal passage, those fires kind of moved out in those areas where the canyons and the drainages came out from the bottom. We'll likely see that as we get to Wednesday, Thursday. And if you look over here, we have these different categories, and we have the red, the yellow, and the green. So wherever we have more of the red categories lined up, those are the days when that fire behavior is really going to pick up, and our firefighters are going to have to, really be on their toes when they're actually out there engaging in their suppression efforts. But fortunately, after the last couple days, we have several days where the fire behavior is going to allow folks to get in and do a lot of good work. We will start to see that fire behavior pick up. I guess this is kind of the take-home message here. We'll see it pick up towards the middle part to the end of this coming week. Nothing like what we saw on Thursday or Friday of this last week. And I think that we potentially will see some of those return, some of that parameters return to get us to a spot where that could happen. But to get everything lined up, we'll have to keep looking at the data and figure out if we're going to be in a situation similar to where we were at, say, on Thursday. And I'll stick around for questions at the end.
Good evening, Dan Cathert, Operations Section Chief with Great Basin Team 3. This is our second day on the fire, with our team taking it over from the other team. So, this map's really hard to read with all the purple lines, so bear with me here for a minute. Let's talk about the Bulldog Fire. If you notice, right here along the Bulldog Fire, we've got some black line, okay? That black line is areas where the fire is cold along that edge, okay? As we come up the highway, and we continue up the highway, it's not black line, but it's still looking really good. Today's been a great day. Just like you heard from the fire weather and the fire behavior analyst, the fire is holding really good along that road. We've got resources in there. You've probably seen our engines and our crews, driving around, checking stuff out. They probably showed up on your property. What they're doing is they're looking at your homes and they're coming up with plans and ways we can implement structure protection if needed. As the fire has moved up to the north, the Bulldog Fire, and we've continued up the highway and progressed with the other team's plan coming up the highway here. We've looked at a couple options in here, and we're going to put some handline in where the road and the topographical influence, the road and the mountain, it's a little steep for our people. So we're going to bring some handline in and we'll bring it back to the road. And we're doing that so we have areas where we can work, okay? We've all hiked these mountains. We've been up in here. We know it's steep. And it's really tough when it's steep and then you got the rolling out material and then you have the fire on top of that. And it's tough for our people. So we're looking at areas that we can do it safely and then we have the best buy-in. This is in an old burn scar. And so if we go back over to this one, it's coming back into, I want to say it was the Rattlesnake Fire. And it's just moving slowly through the Rattlesnake Fire. And it's just picking up areas where there is still some heavier fuel. But it's not making these big pushes. As you guys experienced before we got here and stuff, there were some significant pushes, but that was outside of these burn scars. These burn scars are looking really good. The fire is moving slowly, and it's just picking up fuel that's available within those scars. So as we come back down, let's come back down towards town here. In the community, of Crouch and Garden Valley, and let's work our way around to Highway 17. Okay, we've had some big crews in here. There was some dozer line, and there was some hand line. If you guys can't see my hand, I'll use the laser pointer here. They've gone through and they've worked on that. The line is looking really good. It's holding through this area, and that's why we've got it black. This in here, we just have not put the crews out here to keep working that line. Because the fire is checked up. When I say checked up, it's just moving very slowly in that old rattlesnake burn. And it's just taking the available fuels that's there. This is probably going to change in the morning. When I say change, you might see some more black line in the next day or two coming out this way. We were not able to get an IR flight last night, infrared, where the planes fly over and they look at the heat signatures for us because of the cloud cover last night. So the map and the progression that you have right now is 2 days old. Okay, so hopefully tonight, if we can get the cloud cover to break, we might be able to get a flight. If not, this progression map that you're seeing is going to be the same for tomorrow too. So we're going to be 3 days old. So then we're going to have to wait till Tuesday to get an updated progression map. But things are looking good. As we come down through here, like I mentioned, you probably saw a lot of our resources driving around through town, coming up on your properties and everything else. They're looking at the structures, they're looking at the values at risk, and they're coming up with plans. I know they've interfaced with some of the fire chiefs, with the fire department, and coming in and seeing what plans you guys have and how we can supplement and enhance your guys' plans. We've got equipment and we've got a lot of engines coming. This fire, the Bulldog fire, is still within the rattlesnake scar, and it has not moved back out this way. I'm not saying it will not, and I'm not saying it will. It just hasn't. Okay, the conditions just haven't lined up for it to do that. And the biggest thing we have in our favor is A, the weather, B, the old burn scar. Let's go down here along the 17 corridor. We got the Nelly fire. I know the last few days the corridor's been impacted. And I know there's probably some frustrations why we're not up in here trying to catch it up high. We all know it's in the timber. We're trying to bring it, we're trying to allow it to come out to the grass. The lighter, flashier fuels where we can actually do something with it. If we come up in here and we try to get into the timber, A, we can't get any equipment in there. So it's all going to be by foot. So we're looking at the safety of the firefighters, but we can't do anything with it in the timber. We've seen what happens in the timber. You get the timber burning, it spots and it moves out, and then we're trying to keep it from spotting across the highway and the river. If it spots over across the highway and the river, we got a whole different problem. So I know there's been some frustrations. Why are we not going after that fire? You notice it when we've been after that fire, it's when it's transitioned out of the heavier fuels into the grass. And a lot of times we have that wind component pushing on us. And so now we're down onto the structures, burning out on the backside of the structures, putting some, dozer line in to make sure that it's not moving any further. So I know we've impacted the highway corridor with people's travel. I know we impacted the corridor yesterday with the power. Two things with the power yesterday going into Loma. The first one, when the fire was coming through, we had our firefighters underneath the power lines. When they were going to put fire on the ground, one of the things with the smoke gets up into the power lines. You got carbon particles and water particles. We can actually get it to arc and come down. A, hurt the firefighters, and or B, start another fire. So the power company was there. They shut the lines down for us. And it was only supposed to be for about an hour, hour and a half, so we can do that burn around the structure and around those lines. The thing that was nice about it, and here's the positive piece, was while the lines were down, there was a tree that impacted the lines, nothing to do with us or the fire, but impacted the tree, or impacted the power line, brought the line down. We would have had another fire outside of where we were at. So the amazing grace on this whole thing is the lines were already de-energized for us to do our job around the structures. That tree went into there. We had the power company there. They were able to get on that, fix it, turn the power back on, and then I know it went down again last night for a little bit because they had to replace the pole, and then it came back on this morning. So that's why there was the inconvenience yesterday with the power. Second is the highway corridor driving through there. Once we have the firefighters in there, I know that they've got road closed signs, and I know it's an inconvenience. We're not trying to keep you from going home. We're not trying to keep you from coming from home. We're not trying to keep kids from going to school, which if I was a kid, I'd be like, yes, no school. It's for the safety of the firefighters. You guys know how windy that road is, and you got the blind corners. We just didn't want someone coming and flying around the corner, have a firefighter or an engine sitting right there, and all of a sudden we have an accident. Or someone veers off and now they're in the water, or they go off down into the ravine. So the safety is for all of us. So we've been trying to work this as safely as we can and minimizing the impact to the corridor. And we all know once we remove that fuel, what's going to come down? You already got rocks coming down. We'll bring everything else down, and we don't want to do that. So we're trying our best to do this as cautiously as we can. As the fire comes around, we've got the old Pioneer Scar. So it's looking really good. It's not burning super fast through that Pioneer Scar. It is moving, but it's not getting those big heads and moving. Where you saw the big progression of the fire was up here at Deadwood. You got the Pioneer Scar here, and I cannot remember the name of the fire that was here. Sorry about that. But you got a burn scar here, and you got a burn scar here, and that fire came through the area that has never had fire. And that's why you had that significant growth. And it's still pushing its way through that fuel that has not seen fire. You got the burn scar over here, you got a burn scar here, but this is unburned area. It hasn't seen fire for a long time. And that's why that fire growth is going that way. So what are we doing about it? Let's come back down here on the southwest corner of the Nelly Fire. We just got approval. We're going to be putting a dozer line in. That's going to be coming up through here. We're calling this a spaghetti bowl with all the roads, but we're going to bring a dozer line through, and the fire has progressed and it's moved through a little bit, but we're going to bring it right along the ridge line and tie it back down to the highway. We're bringing it down through the grass ridge, not through the timber. We got a pocket of timber on one corner, but we're bringing it through the grass ridge where we can light our flashing fuels, that we can moderate the fire behavior when the conditions are right. So we're bringing that down to the highway here. It does two things for us. A, now we have a nice check line for the fire that keeps trying to push down on the southeast corner or southwest corner, which keeps impacting your guys' highway corridor, and it keeps moving itself back around the Garden Valley, and then eventually we're back into raw fuel again, and then we have another big push. So, stroke number one, we've got a dozer line that we are going to start tomorrow, and it's going to be backed up with hand crews. Number two, up here on Deadwood, we've got permission. We're going to open up some of these roads with dozer, and we're going to do the same thing in here, and we're going to tie it into the old Pioneer burn scar as another check line, so we can stop that north progression of the fire. If everything, and I can't give you guys 100% on anything, because Mother Nature is Mother Nature. We all know how Mother Nature works. You know, we say it's going to rain today, and it's sunny. We say it's going to be sunny today, and it rains. It's the same thing. The same thing when we're putting these lines in. With our best professional advice, and I'm not going to say guessing, but with our professionalism and looking at everything, going at the way the fire behavior was, looking at the FAM and the fire meteorologist with the information they're giving us, those are the best options we have. Looking at the safety of the firefighters, the safety of the public, and trying to eliminate as much damage as we can with this. So we're trying to keep it as close as we can to the fire perimeter. I'll call it the footprint of the fire. But there's times we can't be on that fire footprint. We have to move away from that fire footprint to be able to do these lines. And so yes, we might burn a little more country, but that's the safest area or the easiest way we can do it without having extreme fire behavior, pushing it out and away from us. Any questions? We'll be here after. Quick question.
So at the bottom, at the highway, you said you're going to put in a dozer line. How far is that dozer line going to go all the way up that or just partway up it?
So the dozer line is coming up, I'm calling it the spaghetti bowl. Those are the 669 road and the 613 road. It's coming up to this spot right here. This area in here is within another part of the old burn, and it is just, it's not moving out. We've had crews in here and they're looking at this. We're going to pick it up with the hand crews. When I say pick it up, they're going to start looking at the line. And if there's other potential areas where we can tie it together, we will. But this is not the threat right now. The threat's this piece down here. This is the piece that is giving us the biggest headache. And that's the headache that's going to come around and affect us this way. This in here is staying up high still. Now Mother Nature can throw a wind event on us and spot it 2 miles. I can't predict that. I wish I had a magic know. But right now, and I can't say right now, our best tactical objective is this right here. Okay, I'll be here afterwards for any other questions.
All right, elephant in the room. Who knows where the beeping's coming from? Nobody knows? Okay, I hope we're safe. So, what's that?
Your name, please.
I'm getting there. Starting with a
sorry.
joke. I'm Chris Wavert. I am the agency administrator representing the Boise National Forest. So I'm from Challis, Idaho, so just over the hill. But I'm here to represent Boise because, believe it or not, these folks get tired when they have this much fire on the landscape all summer, so they need some help. So what I want to talk about is a couple things I do as the agency administrator. Dan got up there and he talked about this dozer line that was approved. That was an hour-long conversation he just had with myself and my counterparts. So what do we talk about? We talk about, is this going to be safe? Is this going to be effective? I hate saying platitudes, but it's kind of one of my jobs. Is the juice worth the squeeze? So we talked about that. 45 minutes later, we said, yeah, we think we've got a couple days of moderating weather and fire behavior. We can get in there and safely do this. So safe, effective firefighting is one of the things we do, that we talk about. One of the other things is a representative for the Boise National Forest. Anybody have a guess how many firefighters we have out there right now? Lots. How many? 546. And so me being a representative of the Boise National Forest, what I let those firefighters know is that they're also ambassadors for me. So I want to make sure those folks are representing the Boise, myself, the IMT, and they're building strong relationships with the community here. Because I can tell this is a very vested and interested community. So those are the two of the things I do, but there are two things that are pretty near and dear to my heart. Another platitude is that the relationships we leave are going to last a lot longer than the smoke that's in the air. So I want to make sure we leave a good reputation behind, and you guys look forward to seeing us in the future, but maybe on different terms. So that's what I got. Thanks. I'll take questions later.
Thanks, Chris. Good evening. I'm Brett Waters. I am the incident commander for Great Basin Team 3. And as was mentioned, this is only our second day on the fire. And you can see we brought in cooler weather, we brought in rain. I wish we had that ability, but as we all know, you folks have lived with fire a lot. And so this is not new. And we also know that Mother Nature is really the one that's in charge. And every now and then we get some opportunities, like the weatherman or like fire behavior has said, we've got some opportunities these next couple days. We taken advantage of it today. And like Chris had mentioned, the forest, we had a good talk about what we can do to take advantage of it for the next 2 days. As we know, we're getting a little bit of a break. And we are going to go after this fire wherever we can safely do it to help moderate where it could potentially go. We know your property, the rivers, the road systems are absolute high priority, as well as our natural resources. So we're putting all of that together to come up with a good solid plan where we think we can be very successful, we can do it safely, and we can get your life back to normal without smoke. We know that it's not going to be, month and a half, 2 months, and you'll probably have some white stuff on the ground. And, so I can't forecast when that's going to happen, but we know that we're going to have some snow up in this country. So we're going to look at every opportunity we can. Our team is a very high performing team that works really close with the community. And we want to make sure that you have all of our information. That's why we're having public meetings every other day. We're having cooperator meetings every single day, so that if you have questions, if you have concerns, you just don't understand what's going on. What are you guys doing? What is your plan? Why are you doing this here? Please ask us. We will be happy to have those discussions with you and explain to you what is behind the decisions that we make. It's not a guess. We use science, we use experience, we use education, and we use many, many, many hundreds of years of experience fighting fires to make these decisions. And but the other big part of this was mentioned. We want to leave things, get you back to normal life, and so that the next time Mother Nature throws some lightning in the area and you get smoke up on the forest, and you have to call some outsiders like us in there to kind of help. is that you're looking forward to having us come and to help you, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to help you folks get back to normal, take care of this, reduce as much damage as possible. So we appreciate everybody that's coming out. We will make sure that we continue to have these meetings and we can answer any of your questions. We are 100% transparent and we're happy to visit with you because we all live in places where we've had the fires too. So we know what it's like. So thank you very much for coming, and I'll turn this back over to Michael.